Clock Football presents Josh Allen in the revolutionary Buffalo Stampede offense. The following is a continuation of the popular 2021 video, Josh Allen is Better Than You Think, which successfully predicted the emergence of Josh Allen at a time when most of the NFL analyst community was bearish on his long-term prospects. In this video, I will lay out the blueprint for the Buffalo Stampede offense, which will enable Josh Allen to finally reach his full potential, and in the process should make the Bills the highest scoring offense in the NFL. Perhaps the most exciting aspect of this video is that you don't have to accept this revolutionary approach on faith. Rather, it's just a matter of reviewing all of the available evidence from the Bills' 2022 campaign and then piecing it all together holistically to construct an offensive approach. If you have an analytical mind that's open to new possibilities, I'm confident that by the end of this video, you'll understand why this is unquestionably the way for Josh Allen in the Bills offense. Well, you may ask, if this offensive approach has the potential to be so effective, why has it never been implemented in the NFL? The simple answer is because there's never been a Josh Allen before now. He's one of one, a unique talent. The Buffalo Stampede can only function optimally with Josh Allen at the controls. No other quarterback will do. There are two parallel concepts that can help you understand the Buffalo Stampede approach. One is Lamar Jackson's 2019 MVP campaign, where Greg Roman maximized his unique skill set by building an offense around the read option. And the Ravens jumped from 13th in the league in points scored in 2018 to first in 2019, more than 50 points ahead of the second-place 49ers. By introducing the ever-present threat of Jackson's superpower, turning the corner and getting into space is one of the game's fastest and most dangerous open-field threats, the Ravens also made the defense consistently defend 11 guys instead of 10, and this created the additional benefit of numbers mismatches that wouldn't have existed otherwise. Now, Josh Allen has not one, but two superpowers, areas where he's hands down the best quarterback in the NFL. The Buffalo Stampede is centered around maximizing these strengths. Allen's first superpower was discussed at length in the 2021 video with a new concept that I called angle theory. Simply put, Allen's the best in the league at making direct downfield throws to acute angles approaching 0 degrees, where he can see the numbers on the front of the receiver's jersey. The more static the target, the better. And this is measured by the rate of movement along the 90-degree perpendicular. Allen's 2022 next-gen chart suggests that the Bills are highly effective when throwing the ball 10 or more yards down the field, and the rate of success increases significantly when he fires the ball directly into one of these acute angle targets. Allen's second superpower is knifing through a crack in the defensive front and attacking the middle of the field as a runner. Not only does he have an extremely rare size and speed combination, but he also has an uncanny knack for making the first guy miss head-on. Finally, when Allen gets into the open field like this, he rarely takes the kind of big hits that make Buffalo Bills fans cringe. That is, unless he goes hunting out contact and is looking to milk every yard out of a high-leverage situation, like the last few yards on a third down conversion. Usually he can make his yards and get down without putting his body in harm's way. Okay, so most of this is fairly obvious to someone who's watched enough Josh Allen film. The question now becomes how to construct an offensive approach that maximizes these superpowers. Well, consider a second concept. The Buffalo Stampede is like a modern NBA offense. For example, the James Harden Houston Rockets shown here, where the lineup is full of three-point shooters, and they space the floor such that the defense has to defend sideline to sideline. Clearing bodies out of the center opens up attacking lines in the heart of the defense, and this facilitates both dribble penetration and open threes from the perimeter when the defense is forced to help inside. Now, to employ this approach in the NBA, you need a bunch of capable three-point shooting threats to keep the perimeter defenders attached to the men that they are guarding. But to employ this approach as the Buffalo Bills, you don't need a roster full of specialized personnel, but rather just one Josh Allen. His elite arm strength allows him to make all of the shots, or throws in this case, from sideline to sideline. And as a result, he has the ability to, in Sean McVay's words, make you defend every blade of grass on the field. Making long throws to targets outside the numbers is a risky proposition for most NFL quarterbacks, but Allen's arm strength mitigates this danger. There are very few instances on record where a defender has the time to anticipate and successfully jump one of these routes for an interception. The ball simply gets there too quickly for this to occur. So in order to test my spacing hypothesis, I created a different way to think about pre-snap positioning by dividing the field into two sections. The space between the numbers, that we'll call inside, and the space in or outside of the numbers, that we'll call wide. And I charted every Buffalo Bills offensive play in 2022 where Josh Allen was the quarterback. As expected, this illustrated a very strong relationship between the number of receivers lined up wide and the success of offensive plays where Josh Allen was the quarterback, as measured by expected points added, derived from the play-by-play data found in the box scores in Pro Football Reference. I eliminated all plays where there was an accepted penalty, as well as spikes and kneel downs. Now, let's examine a specific case of this concept of spreading the field with as many wide bodies as possible, and the difficulty that this poses for opposing defenses. Looking at this pre-snap photo of a four-wide set, one can envision several different outcomes, and none of them are good for the Jets. The most egregious mismatch here is safety Jordan Whitehead being responsible for Stephon Diggs one-on-one. And this is the one that Allen chooses to exploit after Diggs gets open with a shifty move on Whitehead and then picks up a bunch of yards after the catch. Revisiting the photo, note that the Jets are left with only 5 guys in the box to both rush the passer and prevent Josh Allen from getting into open space as a runner. Additionally, there are no Bills bodies obstructing Allen in this pursuit, and he's on the verge of breaking out at any time. This puts the Jets' pass rush in a serious bind. Either stay in their lane strictly and conservatively rush Allen, allowing him increased time to find cracks in the defense downfield in a high-value acute angle throwing opportunity, as mentioned in the second principle of angle theory from the 2021 video, or rush him aggressively and risk him finding a seam and taking off into open space as a runner. Another important feature with the Jets spread out like this is that the quarterback reads are more transparent and the options for the Jets defense are limited. With the corners on the wide sections of the field and the safeties well off the line of scrimmage, there's no obvious place to blitz from, and thus the Bills' offensive line and Allen can be fairly certain about where the pass rushers are coming from and who's covering who. This is a crucial point given the defensive masterminds in the division like Bill Belichick, who excel at confusing the quarterback by allowing for multiple possibilities from every pre-snap position. And by now we know for sure that one of the areas where Josh Allen is a mere mortal is avoiding mistakes. Well, one obvious way to counter this and minimize the opportunities for mistakes is to limit the possibilities available to opposing coordinators, and again, make opposing defenses more transparent. In this 3-wide alignment, the Bills have 2 corners playing wide receivers on the twin side in man, thereby negating their ability to support the run. All the Bills make their straightforward blocks on the play side, and James Cook is off to the races. In contrast, the Chiefs have only 1 corner assigned to the 2 receivers on the twin side. So Dawson Knox simply runs by the corner and creates a good throwing angle in the sweet spot of the zone, and Josh Allen fires it in there for a fairly easy 20-yard gain. One final point about positioning more bodies outside the numbers. Almost all of the routes run by receivers from out wide bring the receiver back towards the quarterback and create acute angle throws like slants, square ins, posts, comebacks, and curls. The flat trajectory obtuse angle throws that Angle struggles to complete, like this one to Jake Kumaro, almost all result from patterns run by receivers who line up inside and work their way out towards the sideline. Let's talk about some of the other 2022 data that is informing the Buffalo Stampede approach. Here, the Bills ranked in the bottom half of the NFL in EPA per rush in 2022, while also ranking second in EPA per pass. Another related factor to consider is that the 4 veterans on the offensive line, Dawkins, McGovern, Morse, and Brown, grade much better as pass blockers than they do as run blockers. This line is not built to run the ball consistently. Josh Allen was their most effective runner by far. The running backs in aggregate had a negative total EPA in 2022. Throwing the ball to running backs wasn't much better, with all of the backs, Hines, Cook, Singletary, and Moss, averaging less than 6 yards per target. For comparison, the primary wide receivers, Diggs and Davis, averaged more than 9 yards a target, and Dawson Knox averaged more than 8. With run-centric formations, where Josh Allen was under center, the Bills had a negative EPA on first and second down. The strong under center numbers on third and fourth down were mostly due to their success in short yardage. This is highlighted by Josh Allen having a mind-blowing 100% conversion rate of 13 for 13 on short yardage rushing attempts from under center, as defined by third or fourth and 1. The Bills' running backs only scored 7 rushing touchdowns in 2022, and 3 of those came from outside the 20-yard line. In addition, only 3 came from formations with Josh Allen under center, including 2 of those from the red zone. I called this new offense the Buffalo Stampede to emphasize the fact that this new offense is coming at you 100 miles an hour at all times. Up-tempo like the Jim Kelly K-gun approach of the 90s. Josh Allen has always thrived when the game is fast and chaotic. He ranked first in 2022 PFF passing grade in the 2-minute drill, and that doesn't even consider how dangerous he becomes as a runner when the game is wide open and fast. Which brings us to the governing principles of the Buffalo Stampede. Numbers 1 and 2 were previously covered at length. When the formation is spread out with a bunch of bodies lined up wide, I'm not sure that there's anyone in the NFL who can adequately cover Stephon Diggs in the slot with space to break in either direction. I'd like to see the Bills do more of this. Point number 4 is in all caps because this is the primary goal of the offense. Success of the game plan can be largely measured by the number of high-value, downfield acute angle targets that you can provide for Allen. Points number 5 and 6 go together. I don't see any point in run-centric under-center formations in non-short yardage situations. This is not their strong suit. Furthermore, I don't think that the Bills should feel obligated to run the football. Rather, they should run when the matchups suggest that they have an advantage. For instance, if I'm playing the Jets and C.J. Mosley and Quincy Williams are in the game, then I'd be inclined to force one of them out to the wide section of the field to cover Cook or Kincaid or Dawson Knox like we saw in the earlier photo. This also goes for the red zone. Given that the Bills running backs had only 2 red zone rushing touchdowns from under center in 2022, I'd take a cue from Andy Reid and the Chiefs and invent as many creative ways as possible to score in the red zone as alternatives to running from run-centric formations. Given that Josh Allen may be the most effective short yardage runner in the NFL, why not experiment with going empty backfield with a bunch of guys spread out wide to lighten the number of in-the-box bodies that he has to contend with, while also threatening a big strike against cover 0 or similar? As for number 9, the Buffalo Stampede might result in Josh Allen running even more than he has in the past, but I'd like to do this while also decreasing the number of big hits that he takes. He must be very reluctant to put his body on the line. The tight formation, short yardage pushes are a fairly safe way to run it. And on the great majority of scrambles, where he breaks through the middle of the line into open space, he has the opportunity to get down safely before he takes a hit. I de-emphasize the plays where he acts like a running back, like quarterback sneaks or quarterback draws into crowded boxes. Losing Josh Allen to injury ends all hopes for Bills' success. At the same time, I feel the Bills can only win the Super Bowl if Josh Allen is able to maximize all of his talents, including his running ability. Therefore, a healthy balance between the two must be struck, and this requires Allen being more reluctant to take hits than he's been in the past. Which leaves us with number 10. As a final point, let's talk more about the throws that we'll be significantly de-emphasizing or eliminating entirely. The 2021 video extensively discussed the pattern that I call a bend out, a flat trajectory throw to a back coming out of the backfield who's running away from the quarterback with his back to the defense. There's almost no upside to these throws. Josh Allen is below average in making these throws. And simply put, these throws have been significant underperformers for the entirety of Josh Allen's career. You can see in the passer rating numbers that throws short of 10 yards are the weakness of the Bills' passing game. And these numbers are dragged down by obtuse angle throws to backs on the periphery. However, there are alternate ways to achieve positive results by making short outlet type throws. Having one of the wide receivers simply sit down on the sidelines or come back to the quarterback slightly also provides a safety valve, but at the same time creates the potential for significant yards after the catch. Tight ends moving to the perimeter don't have a lot of ground to cover, and Dawson Knox usually has time to get out to the free area, stop and square up for an easy throw, and catch where he's in a decent position to gain yards after the catch. Similarly, James Cook often has success finding a soft spot in the middle or escaping out of the formation and running some form of circle route. In both cases, he provides a highly visible, high percentage, acute angle throw when Allen needs an emergency outlet. Now, there is one obtuse angle throw that is essential for completing the Buffalo Stampede attack, and that's the one-on-one 9 route that will often present itself when the defense is forced to defend a wide variety of options sideline to sideline. But starting with the tail end of the 2020 season, Josh Allen has gotten progressively better at getting air under these throws and locating them where his guy can effectively run under them, and as a result has become one of the better deep ball throwers in the game. His touch on these throws improves even more when he breaks contain to the right. Okay, this has been a summary of the Buffalo Stampede, where the Bills will line up an increasing number of bodies in the wide sections of the field, open up the middle for Allen to attack as a runner, and emphasize all the throws that Allen excels at. In addition, they'll play at a fast tempo that encourages the chaotic and unstructured type game that brings out the best in Josh Allen. In creating this summary, I've cut some important details like the discussion of Stephon Diggs as a genius of angles, who intuitively incorporates the most important principles of angle theory in his route running, as well as more illustrations of various facets of the Buffalo Stampede approach in the 2022 game film. If there's interest in this, let it be known, and I'll make a follow-up video soon. As usual, thanks for watching, and please, right now, take the time to subscribe to and follow the channel so that you can see future videos and support my efforts. Thanks again for your attention and support.